Horse Girl on Netflix. Is this just an offbeat look at a lonely young woman on the verge of a breakdown? Or are her dreams more of reality? Alison Brie is Sarah, who is quirky, socially awkward, lonely, downtrodden, sometimes melancholy. She's also unconfident, but she's genuine, and she's looking for genuine friendships. There's a peculiar and offbeat vibe to this film, but also a slight sense of unease. Like you feel that a shoe is about to drop, but you don't exactly know what it's going to be and how it's going to be, and really, is it going to drop? As I mentioned, Brie, as Sarah, doesn't have a lot of friends. She's trying to make friends. She's trying to have friends. She's trying to branch out. She has one who she works with as a coworker, Molly Shannon, who does a really good job. She seems very genuine and just kind of, she's much older than Sarah, but she feels kind of motherly, but also just a real friend. Debbie Ryan plays Sarah's roommate and kind of also her friend. She looks out for her, seems to, but there's also this edge to her. Like she just doesn't get along or doesn't really like Sarah. She tolerates her. Maybe that's what it is. But you don't know, is that just maybe just some roommate tension, or is there something deeper that's going on, or is that only from the perspective that Sarah sees? At one point in this film, Sarah has a birthday, and because she doesn't have a lot of friends, she ends up just staying at home and watching her favorite TV show, which, you know what, for some of us, that's actually the ideal way to spend a birthday, me included. I would rather go to the movies, but I don't need a whole lot of people to hang out with. But anyway, Sarah hangs out at home. Debbie Ryan, her roommate, comes back with her boyfriend and says, no, this isn't right. We got to do something. So they invite another guy over who happens to be Debbie Ryan's boyfriend's roommate. Okay, you following that? His name is Darren. Now this dude, I really like him because he is awkward also. He's very socially just inept, kind of like Sarah is. And they're a really good fit. But also, he at least seems like a very genuine person. Now, throughout this whole thing, the whole movie, you have this sense of unease, like something is just not right, something bad is about to happen. And so you're always very cautious with each character that we meet because, well, they seem like they're good, but maybe they're not. Maybe there's some underlying just deviousness to them. And I don't want that to be for Darren because how he interacts with her is so awesome. It's so tender, it's so sweet, it's very understanding, and it's very real, and they get to have a real connection, and I enjoyed that. Sarah does have one other genuine interaction, and that's with her friend Sarah, and we also get to see some flashback that gives us insight into her character, what she's going through, maybe why she is just a little bit how she is, but it is so touchingly sweet as these two interact. Really it was, because you get to see a true tender heart in Sarah as she reaches out to her friend Heather. And I loved it. And Alison Brie killed it in this because she really translated in a very short amount of time this depth of her personality. As is going along, Sarah is having some weird experiences and visions. And you don't know, are they dreams? Is it reality? Is she just a little unhinged? Maybe she was just too much drunk. Who knows what's going on and what's affecting all of this? We do get little glimpses as we go along, but Alison Brie really just dives into this character. She makes it her own, she embraces it, and you feel the unease, the craziness, or the maybe craziness, at least the self-questioning, the self-doubt that the character is going through, and we feel it. And it makes it for an uncomfortable watch, but that's not a bad thing. Now in this too, one of the things that I really liked is that there could be a slight sci-fi angle to it. Now, if you've ever seen Safety Not Guaranteed, that whole movie bases on a premise of this one little sci-fi moment that maybe it happens, maybe it won't, but we're going after a dude who's pretty much crazy. This has the exact same feel as that, where there might be a sci-fi element to this that could rationalize or explain a lot of stuff, but then also our narrator is not the most reliable of people. And so maybe it's just all imagination. We have to wait and find out. Now, just to reiterate, Alison Brie as Sarah in this is amazing. Her descent is gradual, but then it goes on this accelerated path, just like just tumbling down. I mean, think Tommy Boy as Chris Farley falls down the mountain. What the heck was that? That's exactly how this is. It begins slowly, and then things compound, and they just keep going, and they move, and they move, and they move. And Alison Brie fully embraces it. I mean, she makes this character her own. She grabs hold of it, and she is so convincing and powerful too. I mean, I really enjoyed watching her just execute this performance as Sarah. We don't know what's really causing it. Is it paranoia? Is it grief? Is it true insanity? All of these things that she's seeing, all of these things that she thinks she's seeing, and then you combine it with some glitches to her own mental timeline, and it throws everything into question. And we're taken along for this awesome ride. Now, one thing that also helps with the entire thing is the score in this. It is unsettling, it is unnerving, it is discordant, and it's agitating. And it works perfectly for what we're watching. There's even times where, kind of like in Baby Driver, where it's all syncopated to the action, some of the music is really just being driven by what we're seeing on the screen, and it falls into perfect timing with that. And I really enjoyed it, but I didn't like it. Like, it was just messing with my head and messing with me and tweaking my emotions in exactly how it was supposed to happen. There are a few parts that I don't think had enough explanation, but I also think that they're so minor they don't really hamper the story. I mean, the title Horse Girl, where does that come from? Well, there is a horse in this, and there is a scene or two with the caretakers of the horses. I don't really know the right term. I'm not a horse guy, not a livestock guy, but they own a ranch kind of thing where they train people to ride on horses. How's that? Well, there's some tension there. There's something going on between Sarah and the owners that they're going like this, but we don't know why. I mean, we get a flashback of an event, but it doesn't answer that. And so is it just because she's odd, or maybe she's just a little off-putting because she's paranoid, or because of her whole behavior? I don't know, and they don't explain that to us. So that would have been nice to get a little bit more, or just cut that part out because it didn't really add anything, at least on my first watch, to the story. The visuals in this are fun, but simple and not over the top. And I like that because it keeps us in this space of reality and questioning reality, because we're like, well, is she really seeing this, or is that not happening? Because it's just not so over the top where you're like, oh gosh, well that's just whatever. But I enjoyed it, and it added everything, just compounding and combining to make for an uncomfortable watch. And that's exactly what we're supposed to feel because we're on this journey with Sarah's character. I know that not everybody's going to like this film. The story is unconventional and it's patient, but it's not slow. I mean, the story itself is odd, and then Sarah, the character, she's even more so. But it really worked for me, and it had this indie feel, and I count that as a massive positive. There's no violence, but there is sex, full nudity, and a lot of profanity. I give Horse Girl 4.5 out of 5 couches. Is there an offbeat movie that is just your favorite, or one that you just love? Let me know what that is in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for catching with me.